Good afternoon and hello everyone. My name is Rich Longo and I would like to thank you for joining us for our top 5 Center for Internet Security Controls presented by McCullough. Looks like we have a lot of folks still trying to join us today, so I'll take my time doing the introduction because there's some folks trying to get in. And I want to welcome the folks that we have in Montreal. We have some folks on here from Seattle, Washington, and Long Beach, California, and right here in sunny Florida. Thank you guys for taking time out of your busy day to join us right before the holidays. It's appreciated. So let me tell you a little bit about Bobby as everybody's trying to get in today. Bobby has over 2 decades of selling, implementing, and supporting a variety of solutions, including IT service, operations, and financial management. This covers everything from budgeting, forecasting, allocating, rebill, and accounts receivable. Also, utilization management, telecom, IT, and cloud, IT asset management from procurement to disposal lifecycle, infrastructure management from copper, fiber, network devices, change management, integrated workflow, time management, and rebill, incident management, expense management, and integration, as well as IT operations analytics. He has configured demonstration systems using JSON file ingestion through application API in Python. Bobby has added value in multiple product engagements, providing overall solution views and clarity. His extensive experience in lean methodologies and proven record of designing and implementing more efficient and cost-effective procedures and technologies is invaluable. So Bobby has been there and helped out so many of our customers. And before we get started and let Bobby share all this knowledge, this wonderful knowledge he has for you today, I would like to introduce Flycast Partners. Flycast Partners is here to deliver a seriously amazing IT experience. We were founded and staffed by personnel that have many years of experience in the IT space. We took the best ideas from the collective experiences and added the best components necessary to grow and become a leading value-added reseller in the North American IT market. We offer best-in-class implementation services and training in IT service management, IT asset management, IT operations management, enterprise service management, workload automation spaces, and much more, all using ITIL best practices. Our professional services team can easily scale up or down to meet the IT needs of any customer, regardless of your size, complexity, or budgetary restrictions. We offer implementation services both on-site and remote, as well as training to reinforce your company's long-term IT success. Our ongoing remote administration and support service offerings will enable your organization to focus on those normal day-to-day operations, saving you both precious time and money. I want you to feel free to reach out to us at any time at 844-FLYCAST, that's 844-359-2278, or visit us on our website at www.flycastpartners.com. We have IT experts standing by live Monday through Friday during normal business hours to answer your questions. This is but one of many of our weekly webinars we have here at Flycast Partners. So I encourage you to take a look at our website and check out any webinar that you might be interested in attending in the future. And I also would like you to take a look at some of the upcoming training we have. We have an ITIL class, folks, coming up here on January 6th. It's a virtual ITIL course that will be taught by our ITIL expert, Chuck Spencer. So please, by all means, go ahead and sign up for that through our website. We'd be happy to have you to join us. It's from 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern time, January 6th through the 10th, I'm sorry. And you'll be joining some of my fellow Flycast Partners co-workers as well. They'll all be taking the class live together, getting through it together and studying together. So it'll be a great experience. Trust me, and Chuck has got a great track record for helping you get through that class and understanding and taking that test. I encourage you to also ask any questions that you have today during our presentation. Please enter those questions in the Q&A section of this GoToWebinar, and I'll go ahead and ask them for you live for Bobby to go ahead and answer those for you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to launch a poll for you while we're switching this over to Bobby. The first poll, the first question that we have, are you confident that your organization's management team has addressed your IT security appropriately? So go ahead and answer that. And while you're doing that, I'm going to turn this over to you, Bobby.
Great, thanks, Rich.
And it looks like we're starting to get some responses of 50-50 so far out of the folks we're taking the poll. Interesting. I'm very curious to see the answer to that. Not many organizations are confident in their IT security, so it's looking like the majority rules on this one so far. Let's see, 71%. Oh, we got half the folks have voted. Okay. All right. It looks like we're going to end that poll at 75%. It's looking like 78%. Wow, it keeps going up. 80%. Those numbers are surprising, actually, for me. I wasn't expecting those numbers. So that's good to hear. It's good to see that people are definitely paying attention and making sure that they're addressing things before they become an issue. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and let you take it from here, Bobby. And I see your screen. It looks good.
Great, Rich. You see my cursor?
I see it. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Great. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I'm Bobby McCullough. Thank you for that great introduction, Rich. We need to hire that guy. I'm not sure who he is. We need to find him though. So today we're going to talk about critical security controls. And guys, I like my voice, so please pop in questions as we go through this. We want to help you out and get everything answered as we can. So when security and IT operations teams work together, you guys probably know this. They're really sort of butting heads. Operations wants things to be done, and security, for lack of a better way of explaining it, security wants to stop things from being done. So those two entities within IT are really kind of working at opposite goals. And so when you can get them though to work together on a focused security solution that's built on common processes, prioritized set of actions, your costs can go down and your responsiveness increase. So we rely on the security watchdog that we feel, the Center for Internet Security, CIS, cisecurity.org. They're a nonprofit organization that really is the leader in establishing best practices around internet security, and they've really defined 25 controls for establishing security control within your environment. And wow, that's a lot. That's 25 things that we've got to talk about. Today, we're not going to talk about all 25. We're going to talk about just the first 5. And here in a minute, I'll explain why we focus on those first 5. The Center for Internet Security really derives their practices from actual experience with customers, NSA. Their controls both support and reflect a lot of the leading sources of cybersecurity guidance. And what's their ultimate goal? That they're designed to help you rapidly define a starting point for defining your defenses within your environment. Direct your scarce resources to actions with an immediate and high-value payoff. So they're really focused on helping organizations like you guys and providing that knowledge and best practice that we rely on as well. To help provide these security solutions out in the marketplace. Using a proven framework and finding a single vendor solution really can help address a lot of the requirements across an enterprise. Like I said, there's 25 of those controls, but we're really going to focus on just the first 5. And the reason for those 5, and again, these were developed by CIS. The reason we focus on these first 5 is that really in cybersecurity, really it's sort of an 80-20 effort. You're going to get 80% of what you need, coverage of filling holes, filling gaps. You're going to get that 80% coverage of that really from about 20% of the framework. And so we really focus on that here in these first five controls. And that really works right into the solutions that we offer from Ivanti. that respond to this. So we start here at the top, inventory, the first two, inventory and control of your hardware and software assets. So that's service management solutions, asset management solutions, so that you know what you've got, where it's located, who's responsible, and can actively manage the life of those activities and those assets, and in that way ensure that you only have those assets in your environment that you should, and you know everything that's in your environment as well. So moving on down, continuous vulnerability management. So really continuously acquire, assess, and take action on new information to identify vulnerabilities, remediate, and minimize the window of opportunity for attackers. So that really kind of gets into patch management, which is a big part of what we're going to talk about today. Controlled use of administrative privileges. So a misuse of administrative privileges is really the primary method for attackers to spread inside an enterprise. We can provide processes and tools to help track, control, prevent, and correct the use, assignment, and configuration of administrative privileges on computers, networks, and applications, so that people that need administrative privileges to do particular tasks, they have the permission when they need it, and not all the time. And then finally here, secure configuration for hardware and software, help establish, implement, and actively manage security configuration of laptops, servers, and workstations using a rigorous configuration management and change control process to prevent attackers from exploiting vulnerable services and settings. So this is really sort of a culmination of several of the solutions allow you to provide this secure configuration for both hardware and software. So how does this look from like a maturity model? So right now, I know a lot of you, you're confident that your organizations are doing well on security. But a lot of people out there, though, are at level one. They're really, maybe you're doing some part of patch management, but you're not doing everything, and really it's kind of chaos. Maybe you have issues with installing patches that weren't tested properly. Maybe you have issues with getting your patches in a timely fashion, getting them installed in a timely fashion. All of that can lead to chaos. So that's sort of an unmanaged maturity level. And then moving up the path here, we move to tracking, which is patch management, making sure that everything is up to date, both OS and third-party applications as well, regardless of system. And then we move on to managed. So this is where we get into privilege management and application control, where you're only able to run those applications that have been installed by a trusted installer, and we don't give you administrative privileges all the time. We elevate your privileges when you need them, and then reduce them once that task is completed. That's a best practice in a much more secure environment. Level 4 is endpoint security, providing security for those endpoints, antivirus, anti-malware, ensuring that the endpoints are consistent in their configurations and things. And really that brings us to a unified IT, where really we're tackling all the main controls that give us 80% of the coverage in our environment, and really expand beyond just security or just service management or just asset management by having that holistic approach. So if the first problem really is patching, some organizations may say that patching is a problem solved. We've got WSUS, or maybe we've got SCCM or something that helps us patch. It's really not a problem solved. If you've got WSUS, then what are you doing about your third-party applications? Do you have virtual environments? How are you patching those virtual environments? You can see the quote here, add virtualization to the mix and you've got a full-blown slow-cooking disaster, because you've got machines that are unpatched. You potentially have machines that are unpatched, and you may be turning those on and using those to create other images of machines, and so really it can really lead to problems if you're not properly managing patching for those virtual machines. And what about Java? It's by itself is a security disaster, like the quote says here, in a league of its own. So patching, even though a lot of organizations may do it, it's really not a problem solved yet today. And this is key. I bring this out on a specific slide here to kind of focus on this. 86% of reported vulnerabilities come from third-party applications. They're not coming from operating systems. They're coming from those third-party applications that WSUS and SCCM do not patch. And so that's a key hole in your security posture within your environment. So what are you going to do? How are you going to tackle this? You've got WSUS that handles Microsoft patching, but what are you going to do about third party? Maybe you need more control on reboots, and so oftentimes when you perform a patch, load a patch, there may be some additional actions that need to occur involving a reboot, bringing the system back online. WSUS doesn't allow for that. Maybe you need to patch those offline VMs that we've talked about, or the templates for those VMs. WSUS doesn't provide that. Reporting. So that's key, being able to provide when the auditors come in and want to know about your security posture, or the C-suite quarterly wants to know about your security posture. How tough is it to generate those reports? WSUS has some reporting, but it's very, very lacking. So start with patch management process. The solution here is a discovery scan. And we'll touch on this again in a couple of more slides. A discovery scan so that you know what's out in your environment. Review the results so that you understand what needs to be patched, and then deploy the patches that you want. Complete control over those patches, whether I do them manually on an ad hoc basis, or maybe it happens on a scheduled basis. And then finally, automatic reports and dashboards so that periodically you can generate that information, that audit position for your C-suite or auditors, however that's needed. So that's the process in general: discover, review, deploy, report. Now, the automation that we're able to apply to this, because this is 2019, everything doesn't need to be done manual. We're going to provide you automation to be able to stage your patching. I know that Rich is has asked about, or has a question coming about, do you test your patches? How do you test your patches? And the solution, Ivanti Solution, provides the automation for staging, so that as you move from dev test to production, you can easily make that migration, move through that process securely and freely as well. Patch groups and scan templates. So this really gives you the ability to segment out your environment, segment out that dev test and production environment, or whatever's appropriate. Maybe it's the back-end database machines are in a patch group by themselves or something. You're able to define those groups, and so you really can have lots of control over how these patches are delivered, when the patches are delivered, and staging them within your environment. Deployment templates in those VMs, that's key. Being able to patch those templates and knowing that they exist, that's the first thing. So when we knowing that that they're there when we scan, and then being able to patch those templates that are, for lack of a better term, a system that's not turned on. And then finally, that providing those automatic reports and dashboards. So Ivanti is Flycast's primary solution for providing this. Just give you a little background on Ivanti, established in 1985, headquartered out in Salt Lake City. 27,000 customers all around the world, 1,700 employees. We're one of the strategic partners for Ivanti, and Ivanti is one of our strategic vendors as well. In the last 2 years, we have been new partner of the year and services partner of the year. So I think that goes to show how important we are to Ivanti, and Ivanti is very important to us. So Ivanti really helps organizations reduce risks and costs associated with managing an IT environment, supporting their businesses and end users. But what really makes Ivanti unique is how they are really changing their approach to how IT organizations work, where they've gone out and either developed or acquired solutions in each of these areas to provide that sort of holistic approach to what's going on. Ivanti really has been formed since 2012. You can see here along the timeline the different solutions that were acquired. Shavlik is the patching solution. That's the main one that we're talking about today, and really a leader, an industry leader back at that time in 2013 in the patching world. And so Ivanti acquired them and brought that into the stack. You can see the other items here: mobility, service management, endpoint management, automation, as well as big data analytics as well. So this is, I'll let you guys read through this. I'm not gonna bore you with all these items here. This is really the stack of solutions that Ivanti offers, all the coverage in all those areas. Today we're really focusing on endpoint management and specifically patch management. If we have enough time, we'll talk a little bit about device, app, and privilege management as well.
While we're going through this, folks, if you have questions, please don't forget to type them in. Bobby is more than happy to answer any questions that you have, and we'll have a couple more polls for you later. But questions, go ahead and ask them. Now's the time.
So let's dive into the endpoint security solution. So Ivanti really provides what they describe as our defense in depth products, and it's really kind of 4 pillars: patch and vulnerability management, app control and privilege management, endpoint security, and then program management, which really is service and asset manager. Today we're going to kind of focus here on patch, vulnerability management. If we have time, we'll get over into app and privilege control. Within these products, Ivanti provides the security controls, the ability to patch and secure your environment from vulnerabilities. Also have the ability to do that to endpoints as well. So security controls really applies to servers, desktops, and workstations. Ivanti Endpoint Manager really can go beyond that to your devices too, if you need that. If you've got SCCM, that's fine. We don't need to replace it. We'll be willing to talk to you about that. But really what we can offer is third-party patching plug-in for SCCM. So really it behaves just like a part of SCCM, and now you have control for third-party patching. Here in the second depth and defense in depth product is app control and privilege management. And this is really where you kind of secure your environment from people running applications that you don't intend for them to run. So this is where my IT department can, stop me from installing maybe Spotify or something like that on my work laptop. But it also goes beyond that. One of the main ways that you can get a malware or a virus is for the system to do something like make a copy of notepad.exe, but really the code inside that exe is a virus or malware. And application control and privilege management secures us from that, so that if something comes in and happens to get in like that and be created, you're not going to be able to double click it and run it. You're going to get a warning because it wasn't installed by trusted installer. And so we've got that availability for endpoint servers and also for SCCM as well. Endpoint security, server security, that's exactly what it says, providing that secure to endpoints that really goes beyond desktops, servers, laptops, and things like that. And then finally, as we mentioned earlier, service and asset management as well. So I said we want to focus, though, on patch management. So really, the Ivanti patching solution really comes in 3 flavors. Patch for SCCM, so really it's just that plug-in that provides third-party patching for your existing SCCM solution. There's also security controls, which allows you to patch both the operating system and third-party applications as well. And then finally, the endpoint manager solution, which really goes beyond just patching both operating systems and third-party applications. Really, it moves over into provisioning OSs, software distribution packages, and everything else that we've talked about over here in the other patching solutions. So Ivanti security controls. The security controls again is on-premise or in the cloud patch management, Microsoft and third-party patch management. We can do it agent or agentless. It's really good agentless when you're on your own organization's environment. We're able to address physical, virtual servers, workstations, integrate that in seamlessly within the tool. So we're going to know what's out there in your environment. If you have multiple locations or maybe remote workers, maybe a sales team that is not in the office all the time, we can apply the agent to those and manage patches on those just like we do everything else. Talked about addressing a VMware environment, so it doesn't matter if it's online, offline, a template. We can also patch the ESX host as well. I noticed on the call that a couple of you look like you're from government-related or maybe highly regulated industries. You may have CVEs that you need to process, common vulnerabilities and exposures, and the system will allow you to do that. It can provide its own, but if you have some requirement to load CVEs in and process them, understand what's missing with regard to that CVE, the system can definitely handle that, and very good at managing that and making that easy for you to process.
Bobby, we have our first question,
yep.
And I'm not
Go
sure.
right ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can answer this or not, but Irina wants to know, looking for advice on disabling TLS 1.0 on port 3389. What is the best practice?
That is a great question, and I am not the best person to answer that question. TLS is something that's going to be going away. There's some secure problems with it, and that's really not something that this particular patching solution addresses. So I apologize. I don't have a good answer for you, other than it's really not something that the patching solution can address for you. Were there any other questions, Rich?
Not
after I failed miserably on that one.
That's okay. Not as of yet. Folks, if you have questions, please type them in there. All right, Bobby will be happy to answer anything that he can. And if he can't, we'll research a little bit and get back to you and try and get the right answer for you. So, we'll definitely try and get an answer for you from somewhere and get it to you, Irina. I've made note of this. So in the next couple of days, you'll be hearing from us.
Great. So moving on here, automation, we talked a little bit about automating things. The Ivanti security controls really provide some unique scheduling abilities, help you through that, that dev, test, prod progression and staging. But really with scheduling, patches aren't small pieces of data that you're moving across your network. And so there's really a need to schedule the pushing of those patches out in your environment. And so we really got a really robust scheduler within the tool to help with that and all the permutations that you might have within automation. We can allow your IT administrators to automate their own patch process from an initial scan. So within your IT organization, you may have sort of some IT czars in their own mini environment within your environment. So you've got the complete ability to give those administrators for those mini environments access, administrative access into the tool where they can manage their own patches for those environments. That's really helpful in a DevOps type environment. Maybe you're developing software internally or for your own customers, and that group may need some type of access. You're able to provide that. And last here, full reporting capabilities, over 30 built-in reports. So if you need to distribute information to C-suite, maybe managers, you have the ability to do that. You can see an example here of an executive summary. This is something that can be scheduled. Maybe you do it weekly, monthly, quarterly. Send that out to the executive team through an email, however you need to distribute that. We talked about virtual machines as well. This is a really nice capability of the Ivanti solution. So you're able to deploy patches to offline virtual machines and their templates. And it doesn't matter if it's power on, power off. We can do it to the snapshots, those templates, and actually we can the templates patching allows us to perform actions as well, other than just providing the patch. So if we need to patch a template, we can turn it on, patch it, turn it back off. Maybe you've got a system that needs to be patched and then spun up and distributed. We're able to bring that into the system and cause those activities to happen from the patching module itself. And it's one console regardless of your systems, whether they're physical, online VM, or offline VMs. Third-party updates. We've already talked a little bit about third-party updates. They're really the real culprit with exposures, and SCCM doesn't do them. So a lot of organizations are like, well, we just allow our end users to take care of those, or just automatic updates from within the application. That is not a best practice. That is not a secure way of providing that. And even within those updates, you're going to have things like, everybody remembers the Adobe Flash and how it always wants to install Chrome or a toolbar or something like that. You're able to have control over those little add-ons like that as well in these patches, so that your end users aren't even asked about that. We can patch it silently and predetermine for them, no, we're not going to install that toolbar or that add-in. Really nice control over your third-party apps. Now, you may be in your organization may be in an industry or perform activities that involve maybe a special software package that's not widely known. Here we're talking about Adobe, all the versions of Adobe, but maybe you've got something that really isn't as widely used as something like that, but you still need to patch it. You're able to create your own third-party updates. And so if you've got a tool like that you need to patch, you can incorporate that in with these automatic patches that we'll get from, from Ivanti, and really, again, make it one-stop shop for all your patching requirements. So you guys already know Patch Tuesday. That's Tuesday is when Microsoft delivers its patches. So we deliver those as well on Tuesday, as well as patches on Wednesday and Friday. If there's a 0-day issue, we generally have those out the very same day, so that we can shut that down. Talk a little bit about CVEs. And so we really have, again, a simple way to reduce the time spent researching on your CVEs. If any of you guys that have worked with these, you know that it's a huge document, a huge text file to try to pour through, and you end up having to do something else with it, that bring it into Excel and report on it, or something like that to try to make it usable. So you're able to bring in those CVE files, and it's very, very simple. Simply select the file. The system will read the file and understand the format from reading it, and then bring it into the tool for you to report against and review. Very, very helpful tool. Allows you to very quickly take a report from your security team, map those CVEs, and come up with a remediation plan that you can explain to the team and show them easily through the tool.
And folks, now's the time to ask any questions that you have. Please type those in the Q&A section. Bobby's more than happy to answer as many questions as you're willing to give us to do within the time allocated. Threw another poll up there about CVEs, and do you get CVEs that need to be processed? So take a moment and give a quick answer. We're curious to see how many of folks in the audience need to process the CVEs.
So here to kind of
looks like most of them don't. It looks like most of them don't. So that's an interesting answer. Very good. Well, thank you for responding, folks. We appreciate it.
So really to kind of wrap up here, guys, the Ivanti patch process really begins with scan. So we're able to scan your environment. You're able to put some parameters in there so that you know, it doesn't necessarily have to go out and get the entire environment. You can do it in subnets. You're able to develop machine groups from those scans, and so you're really scanning your environment, understanding what's out there. You've got complete control over that from an either ad hoc or a scheduled basis. And then from those scans, you can actually automatically deploy your patches, or just uncheck that, and then you're scanning for what's missing to give you the ability to review it. So once you've scanned, you're going to get all that information back. Ivanti does a really good job of bringing to your attention what needs your attention. And so it's color-coded here so you understand which machines are vulnerable and which ones are more vulnerable than the others. And then selecting any of these machines provides the specific patch information for those machines in the window here at the bottom. So this allows you to review that easily. And again, it's a single pane of glass. So, you know, it's your entire environment in here, physical and virtual, both Windows and Linux. And then deploy. So, you know, we talked about from the scan how you can deploy the patches as well, but the deployment can be separate so that you scan, review, and then choose what to deploy. And again, you've got control over that, as well as what's going to happen upon deploying the patch. Are we going to reboot the machine? How are we going to reboot it? And what are we going to do? You've got lots of control here. If there are other actions that need to happen, we've actually got the ability to go in and add those other actions. Maybe you need to reboot it and kick off a particular service that wouldn't start automatically otherwise. You can go in and do that through the solution. And then finally, reporting. Great reporting solutions. They can all be scheduled out so that you understand what's happening with your patching environment, and understand where you are in your security posture, in your security position, and share that within your environment. Those reports can all be automated, so very easy to distribute those. The solution is very good from an automation perspective, where it is entirely possible to go out and scan your environment, set up your patching templates, and then tell the system to periodically scan and patch and deliver the reports to you. And to a certain degree, you just let it run. You let it run and review the output from those reports, and without much input on your part for managing that. So there are some requirements for using an agentless scanning. I'm not going to, I don't want to get into all these here, but there is the ability to do an agentless scanning within your environment, and primarily that's going to be maybe a smaller environment where you're going to have one security server managing the machines that, all the machines that are in its environment, really no remote workers or disconnected machines, which we'll talk about here in a minute. And so that environment really is doable through that agentless process. Let me go to the next slide, guys. My screen's fighting me a little bit here. And so, in the agent architecture, if you don't comply with the agentless prerequisites that were on that other slide, or maybe you're a remote worker where you're not on the environment all the time, so there's an agent that will allows a policy to be defined for that agent, and then that policy will come to the server and get the information that it needs, come out, go to the machines, pull the patches down from Ivanti, and then distribute those as needed out to the machines. Really large organization, you might have sort of a hybrid architecture where you have some agentless, you've got some agents, and you may even have a disconnected environment as well if you're in a highly secure industry. Because we have to, because these patches can be large, I mentioned earlier, pushing these out, you may need to govern that a little bit, push it out during off hours, and you have the ability to define distribution servers so that pushing that out doesn't take the load on any one area of your environment by distributing that across the environment. So just to recap, Ivanti Security Controls really is comprehensive patch management covering both OS and third parties, Windows as well as Linux in the solution, ability to create custom patches, automate the scanning or the deployment of those patches, and also managing reboots within the environment as well. Very easy to use. You saw some screenshots of the interface there. It's very user friendly. Really gives you a chance to manage all your patches and assets from a single pane of glass, and really expand what you're doing within that patching environment, so that you're not just deploying patches. You're actually maybe incorporating script functions in with that patching, so that the processing of that is really hands-off. And then finally, virtual support. I don't know if you guys are running VMs, but the ability to patch those is a real issue, and causes lots of trouble when we got a patch, the guy that's in charge of the VMs isn't there. We need him to turn them on, and that can be a big problem. So having the ability to get into those VMs, to get into those templates, looking at online or offline VMs, being able to take snapshots before we patch. So very, very key for those virtual environments. You've got a system, a template that's used to deploy throughout your system, and you want to take a snapshot of that. That can all be a part of the patching, as well as patching hypervisors as well. So it's a truly complete patching solution for your IT environment. Rich, that's all I have today. Do we have any more questions?
No, I'm scanning the audience right now, and hold on, wait a minute here. It looks like no, we don't have any other questions, and Irina, we'll make sure we get some kind of an answer for you within the next few business days. And if you do have questions, folks, by all means, feel free to send them to us even after this webinar. We'll try and get the answers for you. You can email them to info@flycastpartners.com, or you can reach out to us at 844-FLYCAST, 844-359-22878. Visit our website, chat with one of our IT experts Monday through Friday during normal business hours. They'll be happy to help you. With that being said, thank you very much for a great presentation, Bobby. I learned a few things.
Great. Thank you very much, Rich. And thanks, folks, everybody, for attending.
folks, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I know Christmas is right around the corner for us, and I definitely want to, wish you a Merry Christmas. And until New Year's, it'll be about the second week in January. We'll see you on those webinars then. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week, folks.